Good morning, everybody. John Kirk with Travel Pulse Canada here, and I have the distinct pleasure of meeting and introducing to you Adam Scott, famous PG. Not true. Adam Scott is the founder and CEO of BermudAir, who's celebrating his first year anniversary. So pleased to have you joining us in remotely from somewhere around the world. Good morning, Adam. How are you this morning?
Yeah, very good, thanks. Nice to meet you, John.
Nice to meet you. I had the distinct pleasure of flying down on Bermuda Air and participating in a incredible celebrity golf tournament that you had down last week in Bermuda, and it was remarkable. The weather was great. We played at Tucker's Bay. We played at Port Royal. Lots of great celebrities that were down there. Made some great new friends. I really thoroughly enjoyed myself. And crazy thing is that when I first came into the travel business, I worked for a company called Red Seal Tours, and Doug Hamer was the CEO, who's passed away recently. But he would never let me be the buyer for Bermuda, ever. And it was our biggest product. And now I know why, because it's such a spectacular destination. But one of the things that I found, and I shoot from the hip like this. So we stayed at the Rosewood, and I had breakfast one morning. And the omelet with a big fruit plate, a bagel, and a coffee was $24. And it struck me when I had this phenomenal 3-egg omelet, by the way, that Bermuda is not that expensive compared to the rest of the world now. You know, in Nassau, in Cayman, Turks and Caicos, New York City, Toronto, etc. You know, and the old adage of Bermuda, and the reason I bring this up because I think it's really a big component of getting the word out there to Canadians and to the rest of the world, that Bermuda is an affordable destination, or as affordable as any luxury destination that's out there. So just tell us a bit about that, because I'm sure that's a component of bringing new guests and bringing new arrivals into Bermuda on your service. So just talk to us a little bit about that and give us what you think on that.
You know, I think I think that you're right. I mean, ultimately, you know, any tourist destination right now is rather expensive. I'm actually situated in New York today, and it's a pretty expensive place to be. But I think the bigger thing with Bermuda is that when you get to Bermuda, you find yourself in paradise instantly, and you don't have any of the aggravation that you have when you travel to other places. And I say that from recent experience. I think I think that the great thing about Bermuda is just that it is so welcoming. It's so organized. It's just a very pleasant place to go, and so you don't have to worry about it's a fair place. You don't have to worry about getting ripped off and having those unfortunate experiences that unfortunately exist in many other places.
Yeah, and so you're celebrating the 1 year anniversary. Congratulations, because coming from an aviation background as well, surviving the first year in the aviation world is a big accomplishment. So that must feel great. And you're flying Toronto, Halifax now as an addition, but you've also got Boston, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, New Jersey. And one thing I would like to highlight, I mentioned, because I noticed you have TSA pre-check out of Bermuda, which is a big thing for Americans, but how are things going with your new Canadian routes and the additions from Halifax and Toronto?
Fantastic. I mean, personally, it's a special bit for me because I'm from just west of Toronto, so I'm pleased to be able to have that service back into the hometown. But Toronto and Halifax have been met with great success so far. We'll be looking at expanding our frequencies next year in both markets, and I think Canada has a lot of promise. You know, there's a great deal of connecting or connections, I should say, between Bermuda and Canada in terms of business, in terms of leisure traffic, but also in terms of family and friends. There's a lot of historic connections there. So the Canadian markets have been particularly strong for us.
Are you obviously you're particularly proud about the success of getting your 1 year anniversary under your belt, but as any startup airline, there would have been naysayers. They're saying good luck to you. That happened with many airlines in Canada. Porter Airlines, one that comes to mind in the very early days when they started, it was the same thing. So how was it getting through the first year, and any difficulties and struggles that you made through, or any real milestones that you thought you hit and you thought, okay, now we're really on to something here, and this is gonna take off. No pun intended there, but
I think everything that we've done so far as a team, the team's been fantastic, and I think we've really, we've probably broken a lot of records in terms of getting to where we are today. You mentioned TSA pre, and we did that in probably record time. But I think some of the other business development aspects, like BermudAir Holidays, for example, is a really great it's a great addition to our product mix, and what we can do in terms of working with the hoteliers and getting people to the islands more on a year-round basis. Because I think the biggest challenge for us going forward and for the island is really showing people that Bermuda is a wonderful place to be on a year-round basis. Even a wet Tuesday in the middle of January, it's much nicer to be there than it is, at least from my perspective.
Yeah.
Or what. So
Yeah.
it really, I think Bermuda, when you get there, it sells itself, but we've got to help sell it, at least for people to open their eyes and check it out.
And you've got a great crew. You got Charlie McKee, obviously well known in the Canadian travel scene. Julie Rempel in your marketing, and Greg obviously as well from your sales perspective. And it's so a great crew. But from a Canadian perspective, travel advisors, I think they need the education on Bermuda first of all. Certainly a reinforcement of Bermuda. But how are things going with the trade, and how important do you think they're going to be in terms of a distribution channel for you in the Canadian marketplace?
Yeah, I think actually, as you mentioned, the team have been fantastic, and we're still relatively young, right? And well, we are young, but we're finding our feet quickly, and I think that the trade is absolutely critical for us. I think that Charlie and the team are out there stomping pavements and making connections, and I think we really have to build those relationships with the trade. I think we can be really creative as well, to incentivize people to come to the island and whatnot. We're keen to build those relationships and to ensure that we're projecting ourselves, our flexibility, but also a great product to just a fantastic paradise, which for a Torontonian, we're talking about just over 2 hours. The next closest island is twice as far.
Yeah.
And Halifax, the same thing. I mean, we're literally due south of Halifax, so it's a fantastic.
I gotta say, it did freak me out a bit. I didn't realize, because I think it was 2 hours and 15 was the flying time out of Toronto, 2 hours and 20, and it freaked me out because I really didn't realize that it was that accessible. And I said, but back to my comment on the affordability of it, somewhere that's so easy to get to and so affordable. The golf is great. Like you said, January, February. I've never been down there at that time of year, but I've heard great things about it. But so travel advisors are critical to your plan. And do you want to just talk a little bit about your Fly Bermuda Vacations or that business? Because that's something I don't think we know anything about. Or is it coming along? What's the plans with that?
Yeah, so it's BermudAir Holidays, and what we do there is we've been working with all the various hoteliers on the island, and so we're offering the hotels and the flights together, and I think that's something that it's just another way for us to position ourselves, to get out there and of course promote the island, because Bermuda has historically been a very seasonal market because everybody thinks that, you go to Bermuda in the summer months. But there's great opportunities to go there, as I said, year round. For golf, for restaurants, for everything. Even going in the water. So I think it's something that we want to promote as a year round destination, and I think working with the industry, we can be really we can be a really good
Yeah.
force for good.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, I mean, when that program does come out, you don't have to get, this is for advisors, don't get stuck on the big hotels, because there's great little properties and hotels like the Pompano Beach Club, and there's all these great little resorts and hotels that you're all going to love. We have 2x2 seating in the Embraer aircraft. The pitch on board, I was walking around and just checking everything out. And I think it's a 32-inch pitch in the back and 34 up front. That's pretty comfortable, and pricing seems great. So anything new coming down the pipe that you want to announce today and give us a little heads up on that you might be doing it at the Canadian marketplace, or any big change that you've got foreseeing in the near future?
I think I would just say, nothing ready to announce today, but I would say that certainly we're still very much in expansion mode. We're looking forward to to the next spring season as well for us in terms of the growth opportunity. Where we're looking at more frequencies, additional destinations. But I would just really do a call out to people to come and see Bermuda, and I can tell you this, and this is just being as direct and honest as ever. I have never in my life met somebody who comes to Bermuda and says they didn't like it. Everybody comes and loves it, and I think that's something that that speaks for itself.
I think a dark and stormy in Gosling Rum has something to do with that.
Very much so.
Yeah.
The dark and stormy is critically important for a good trip.
Yeah, for sure it is. Okay, Adam, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time chatting with us this morning. This has been great. We love participating in a great story like this. So we're excited to see how things go for BermudAir down the road, and look forward to chatting to you next time, and maybe seeing you in Bermuda next time. So good morning, everybody. Thanks very much. Sorry, what was that?
I said sorry for missing you the other week, but I was traveling. But next time for sure.
Okay. All right. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Thanks for your continued support. And Adam, you have a good day. We appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. Thanks very much, everybody. See ya.